It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, sponsored by Marco's Pizza, where we will be giving away some free pizza on Thursday and a deal of the week, all that like we normally do. But we have a big pressing matter that's going on right now in terms of flooding. The effects, and I'm going to say that, the effects of the flooding rains today, compounded with the tidal flooding, because it's a double whammy, are making matters far worse. Way worse, because you can't drain. It's very difficult to have the draining process take place when you have all this rain spinning overhead. And what's sad, as we had said yesterday during this live stream, 1 to 3 general would fall, 1 to 3 inches generally would fall, but there would be isolated 4-inch and 5-inch amounts. Well, we had more than 5. Some had 6, some had 7. I'm hearing reports of 8, maybe even more than 8. And where did that happen to be? Probably the most populated area within the 2 states, right? Well, Virginia Beach, that's a very populated area. Norfolk, these are the areas that got hit the hardest. And this is trying to move up I-64. It's trying to move over toward Williamsburg. So let me just take this full screen. So you can see there's still some issues. We zoom in, they've had 1 to 3 already in this area of the eastern shore. I'm looking at Cape Charles. I'm looking at areas maybe around Sheraton. We're looking at areas till 8:15, there's a flash flood warning. And that's affecting over 4,000 people. So if you can get 1 to 3 inches in this little green polygon area with another 1 inch possible between now and say 8:15, would you want to know about it? Of course you would. But the good news is there's no longer a flash flood warning for Virginia Beach, but the damage seems to have been done. Now I want to focus on one thing real quick before I get to all the other items I want to share with you. Yesterday, well, that's what we're looking at. I want to show you that we picked up about 1/3. So the number I'm about to show you for the Virginia Beach rainfall today, you got to add another 0.3 to it. I mean, you don't have to, but you can, to give you a 24-hour total. They had about 1,100s in Hampton, almost 8/10 in Manteo, but you picked up 1,800s in Norfolk yesterday. This is what yesterday. Why would I start with this? Because you got to add it all together. Suffolk had about a 1/2 inch. Now, as of 7:42 in the evening, they've had a measurement of 7.11. But wait a minute, you just showed me there's a 0.3 from yesterday. So now you're closing in on 7.5, right? So is it really that far out of reach to think that somebody had 8, maybe had more than 8? I think that's possible. Maybe you're one of those communities. Maybe you're one of those communities that are dealing with a Lake Olney. You know, we have Olney Road and Bush Road outside of the station here, and it always floods. Doesn't take much. But boy, when you have the tidal flooding, it makes matters worse. Portsmouth, you picked up about 3 today, about 3 in Hampton, about 0.79 Elizabeth City. This moved about 70 miles away from Duck and moved toward Virginia Beach today. So really a 70-mile swing with the heavy bands was that was the difference maker. Do you know what's also a difference maker? Some people said, hey, you know what, this should have had a name. Boy, did we talk about that for 40 minutes yesterday. Go back and look at the live stream. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. I talked and talked and talked. I said, you know what? It doesn't have a name, so people don't give it respect. They won't necessarily alter their behavior. And yours truly was ringing the bell. I said, hey, maybe you get up 10 to 20 minutes early. How many of you took me up on that? There was a flash flood warning for Norfolk, for Chesapeake, for Virginia Beach, as early as 7:49 this morning. That one went to 11:45-ish. And then they issued another one that went to later this afternoon, and then the last one, I believe, was until 6:45. So we've had 1, 2, 3 flash flood warnings in the most populated area, perhaps, in southeast Virginia for sure. But it's been very, very wet and very, very traumatic for those of you that, if you don't like lousy weather, you didn't want to be here. Or if you like lousy weather, you would have loved it. We had over almost 4 inches in Chesapeake today and 1/3 of an inch in Norfolk. Now, you look at the normal, this is what's amazing. Some of us had more than a month's worth in one day. Well, David, I'm no mathematician, but if you had 7.1 today, that's more like, you know, and then what, 0.3 from the day before, you had more, well more than an inch, more than an inch of for the entire month. For context, yeah, we had a surplus, a huge amount of rain today. And the tidal forecast was 5.6. Moderate flooding was observed at 6 o'clock a little bit a while ago, but it will be leveling off in the coming days, meaning tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening, it's going to get better, I assure you. In fact, most of the heavy rain should be gone as early as 11 o'clock tonight if it hasn't slowed down already. Notice how I said that. Some of you are still getting pounded with rain all the way up 64. But we'll go back to the radar in a moment. I want to just remind you, we have a deal of the week. It's my favorite item at Marco's. They are our sponsor. They love weather. Boy, do they love weather. We have a promo code, WTKR David. That's our call letters and my first name. But if you haven't tried what's like a calzone, like a stromboli, it's the pozzoli, and you'll love it. The pepperoni and sauce is my favorite. You might like ranch, you might like marinara, or the garlic sauce. Check it out. It's about half off. Normally it's about $8.50, maybe $9. So you're getting a discount if you decide to get a pozzoli. This week, we're also giving away free pizza for a year. The certificate winner will be announced on Thursday, just like we always do. You get 12 months with one large, one topping. If you're the winner, that winner is randomly selected. I have nothing to do with it. It's done through our sales department. But there are 5 convenient locations that participate in the free contest, the free pizza. And these 5 are 3 in Virginia Beach, 1 in Chesapeake, well, soon to be 2 in Chesapeake. Later, I'll get more information, I think, later this week. But Norfolk is on Hampton Boulevard. All you need to do is go to WTKR.com/Marcos to sign up. So I'd love to say hi to you. If you're on the call, let's get back to the weather because I know that's what's pressing. Also want to share with you, if you're on this call for the first time, it's real easy to interact with me. I will pause. I will stop. I'll just stop in my tracks to address any questions, concerns that you might have. I've got a note, looks like from a friend, from yesterday. It looks like Gary Gaines. He's been a long time neighborhood weather watcher. And I think you're number one, my friend. He had a comment that I thought was worth sharing 23 hours ago. He said, I prefer a coastal low rather than a hurricane. Do you think that now today, Gary? I'm kind of curious. Fast forward to the present, do you still feel that way? This didn't get a name. There are some of the weather community that are thinking maybe it should have had a name, but it didn't have a warm core, and there were fronts coming out from it. So it wasn't necessarily what you would typically see from a tropical storm, but it sure looked like one. Some might say if it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, it was probably a duck. Or maybe a duck donut. I don't know, but I will say this. We got to get to the weather. This is what's causing the problems this evening. We have tidal flooding, 7-8 inches of rain in Virginia Beach. All of it, this is Sewell's Point, mind you, all of it's causing issues because the drainage is not going down very fast. In fact, it's very slow. It's very difficult to drain. 1 to 2 feet of inundation. This runs for the coastal flood warning until 11 o'clock tonight. And this afternoon's tidal forecast was for major flooding in the next 13 minutes in Jamestown. So if you're in Jamestown, major tidal flooding is anticipated with a surge there of 5.1 feet. Yorktown was with about a little less, more than an hour ago, 5.2, and I'm working backwards there, Sewell's Point, 5.6. So moderate flooding, major flooding, we've got a bit of it all. And do you notice what's on this screen? Do you see it? This is lake only, although it's only road. There are a lot of people that have been driving through this and getting stuck today. Boy, there's a teachable moment. Imagine if you take your car through what looks like a lake. But I know what some of you like to say. They say, well, I grew up here. I go to that 7-Eleven all the time to get a Slurpee, and I know what the roads are like, but you don't know what it's like now because there's water all over it. And there's a lot of water over it, and people drive their cars, which are full of computer gadgets, right? We have a lot of electronics in their car. They get stuck, they have problems, and then they begin to regret it. So maybe that's probably not the best mode, the best tack to take. Maybe there are some other opportunities to find another route. As we say, turn around, don't drown. Coastal storm's going to go like this. Is it headed to New Jersey? Somebody was asking me that online. No. The answer is it's not going to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. It's not going to Ocean City, New Jersey. It's not headed to Cape May, New Jersey. It's going to head out to sea after it does a mic drop. You know what I'm saying? It's like mic drop. Just there it is. I've done my damage. I made a mark on Virginia Beach. Says the horse with no name, the storm with no name, the nameless storm. It leaves its mark, and now it's going to be moving out and going bye-bye. Is that amazing? I mean, that's kind of the nature of what we've had to deal with. Some would say this was worse than Aaron. Wasn't that funny? Go back to yesterday's live stream. I kept saying some of you are going to think that this is worse than a weak tropical storm. Not if you were in Emporia, not if you were in a Husky, but those of you who are near Virginia Beach would probably say this was worse. This was worse than Aaron in many cases, just given the fact that we've had, not only have we had all this rainfall, but we've also had power outages. You know about that too? Yeah, let me read that to you as I go to the next map. Virginia Beach has had now 23,000 customers without power. There are 23,000 people at this moment, based on poweroutages.us, 23,000 people in Virginia Beach with no power. And in Norfolk, we've got about 5,500. That's a lot of folks. And I'm sure they wish they had their power. Now, where are the named storms going to be? They're going to be coming off Africa. We got two issues here, a 90% chance within the next 2 days we get Gabrielle, and then 20% chance we get maybe Umberto behind that. Kind of curious to know what you're thinking, what you're seeing. Let me know. I want to get some of the more recent comments on my screen as I refresh my browser and check in what you need to say, want to say, because this was everybody's storm today. Maybe it was a leaky roof. Maybe you got stuck. Maybe you had other power issues with the power. But some of the comments that might be coming in, I see we're getting killed out here. Teresa says it's not good. Eric says, do you think schools will open on time tomorrow? Eric, thankfully, that's not my wheelhouse. I can call the weather, but I'm not the umpire on the field calling the balls and strikes. That's the superintendents that typically make those calls. And I'm not trying to deflect your question. It's a very valid question, because if I'm a parent, which I am, and I've got one in high school, one in college, I can tell you, you kind of want to know what's going on with the schools when weather's bad. And how are they going to react? That's where it helps to be on maybe like a Parent Square type app, something that will notify you in real time. But I do note that Eric is on here, and he is also on the screen. So I just want to recognize him, do a little telestrator. Do you think schools will open on time? We'll see. Tomorrow will be improving. So if I come up with one word to describe your Wednesday morning, it's improving. It's not rain-free everywhere. There's some lingering showers. I got a 60% chance of rain tomorrow, but that could be just insult upon injury. It could be just a little bit of, the cherry on top, whatever. You've already gotten 7-8 inches of rain in parts of Virginia Beach. That's brutal. But now, where we'll be watching what's going on in the Atlantic, I don't have too much concern about these two. And I'm going to show you something that you're probably not going to see in too many places. I'll go ahead and show it to you. Where are these two storms going to go? Well, we're going to look at that here in mere moments. Hang with me, because I do have some other things I want to go back to the radar. It's areas in the eastern shore that we're concerned about as far as the flooding. That runs till 8:15. That's the flash flood warning. And where else are we? In Chincoteague, it's getting some heavy rain here. But yeah, just south of Exmoor, over Cape Charles, they've had 1 to 3 inches with an additional 1 inch expected. And you'll notice which direction it's moving. It's east to west, right? It's moving cyclonically. Now, last night, I had to mention, I would have been remiss if I didn't mention it, that I said there could be some isolated tornadoes. There were some tags about waterspouts. Maybe some people saw waterspouts today. So that might have been the potential. You get a circulation center, you get a vortex, but most people had the heavy rain, and then they got the tidal flooding, and it was a double punch. It was a 1-2 punch that was pretty hard to take. It was a lousy day. Does it mean it's all is lost? No, we'll get through this, especially if you check on your neighbors. I'm always about checking on your neighbors and our family members, make sure everybody's cared for, because flooding isn't to be messed around with. As I'm going to go back to the screen here, I just want to show you this will be slowing down by 11 o'clock tonight. Boy, that's a bold prediction, Aldrich. Yes, it is. It will be slowing down by 11 o'clock tonight. Still pretty moderate right now in Williamsburg. Up I-64, it's pretty ugly. Still raining in Virginia Beach, but maybe not as intensely. But we still have that flash flood warning till 8:15 in Northampton. So I just want to recognize where that is. Now, this didn't have a name, but I like to call it the rainy low round. Remember, that was like, oh, that's cute. If you're not going to give it a name, weather community, give it something. I could call it, hey, you. That's silly, but it is. That's what it does. It's a rainy low round. It's a lousy carousel ride where you're probably motion sickness from today going, I just wish the sun would come out. Are you with me? Maybe you are. I don't, but that's what I would call this. This is a slow-moving system, coastal low, that's not going to be on the short list of getting a name from the Hurricane Center simply because it's got fronts coming out of it, and it didn't have a warm core. There were several reasons, but this is just to oversimplify it. We had high pressure to the north, which made it slow-moving, It was kind of like putting a cap or a lid on it over Maine and over maybe the Great Lakes. So this low is now going to get kicked out and head northeast, probably of New Jersey. How much more additional rain can we expect? The models are going to vary. They're not going to show you 7 or 8 inches of rain that we actually got on the models yesterday because they're not that good. They don't handle tropical systems well. Spoiler alert. You mean you have weather models that don't handle tropical No, some models are better with certain things. Some models do better with different situations. That's just fact. But tropical systems aren't always necessarily discerned all that well. So you just have to kind of know that it might be more than an inch, the peninsula, before daybreak tomorrow. This runs through 7 p.m. Thursday, but I have just a 20% chance of rain Thursday. This has pretty much played its hand. The worst of this storm is now in our rearview mirror. We're now having to clean it up. So the mess that it's caused is obviously staggering. We have now I got to pull up my counter. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's fancy. You got the numbers with the circles on it. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it's pretty easy to count when you got a counter. But there's 5 cars that are either stuck or maybe sympathy stuck. Like, hey, are you okay? Everybody who has hazard lights on, I know they've been there for more than an hour. They've been there probably since 5:30 this afternoon. Now, they decided to drive. I'm not picking on them, but teachable moment. Can't see their license plates. I don't know who they are. But maybe this is a teachable moment for all of us because, believe me, I'm just like you. I get into a hurry. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I want to get someplace. And that's what these people felt like they could do. But think about your car, all the electronic gadgets, the radio. You got so many things, your engine. It can't handle, you wouldn't take your computer laptop and drive it through the water. So why would you drive your car through it? Even though you might think, it's not that bad. I could see other cars doing it. So here are my headlines, and you tell me what you think. If you think I'm overreacting on this drive, it doesn't have to be Lake Olney, because you know what it could be? It could be near the McDonald's, near Greenbrier Mall. It could be over in Virginia Beach. There's all sorts of places where water collects when it rains, right? Yeah, I'm thinking like between McDonald's and Harris Teeter, somewhere in that Great Chesapeake area. There's a lot of water stands there. I've seen it in some of the underpasses where they like, don't go down there. Some people just feel like they feel boldened because they're in a Jeep or they're in a 4x4 or they're in a pickup truck. Why? You could be susceptible to this too. So that's my soapbox. I care about you. You are in essence my neighbor, so I'm trying to just help you out. And if you got up 10 to 20 minutes early this morning, you took my advice. How did I do? Was that good advice, bad advice? You tell me. Rain's winding down tonight. The steady rain will be subsiding, especially around 11 o'clock tonight. That says 11. That says 1. Excuse me. Let me just put 11 p.m. And that's also, by the way, when the coastal flood warning will be expiring. Strong gusts 40 to 50. Now, Norfolk had a gust of 49. 49, I believe, was Norfolk, and the peak gust in Virginia Beach was 55. Those are stronger. How's this for staggering information? Those are stronger wind gusts for Norfolk and Virginia Beach than Aaron. Aaron, I believe, hit a 52 mile an hour wind in Hatteras. Hatteras is down there. We had a worse effect by far and away in Virginia Beach from a no-name storm than we did from Aaron. Is that weird? Does that happen often? Because I've had many of you tell me that nor'easters around here are a lot worse than some of the named storms. And maybe not classified as a nor'easter. It's a coastal low, but it did cause some damage. Coming up, by the way, not only going to talk more about pizza, but I'm going to talk about something special about weather. If you stay with me to the end, I'm going to give you a bonus announcement about the weather department here that you're going to be thrilled. I think you will. If you've been here your whole life, I got a big announcement. Remind me at the end. I will announce what's happening tomorrow. We're going to be I'm going to make an announcement tonight about it. Something special. It's something good to look forward to kind of get your mind off of this particular storm. But I'm looking at the comments. I know there's several. Let me keep moving. But those are the headlines. Now, visibility was dropped down about a half a mile. Right in here during the peak of this particular event. It's improved a little bit. Newport News is down to 2. That's not the big story, clearly. But the severe weather threat, we had one severe thunderstorm warning in Northampton earlier this afternoon. There are the wind gusts now. Virginia Beach gusting to 50, excuse me, not 55 now, that's what it was. 44 now, while it's 23 in Elizabeth City and 49. Look at that, Wallops Island. Wallops Island's getting walloped with some strong winds at this hour. Can't believe I got so many comments coming in here. I didn't get everybody on here. I want to say hi to Taj Brown. he has a weather report on here, if I have them correct. He's noting here, he says, huge tree or tree huge branch snapped. Ooh, that's not good. In the Azalea Acres neighborhood. See, that's what's not good. And you get all this water, you get super saturated ground. I mean, where would you put 7-8 inches on a good day? You have tidal flooding where that's coming up too. It's a nightmare in Norfolk and Virginia Beach in terms of water tonight. And I can only imagine if you have a basement or if you have issues with a leaky roof, you know, like these roofs sometimes they leak. Some old time buildings can do that. Or you get stuck because you maybe didn't exercise the best judgment. You didn't turn around and don't drown. You decided to plow through it. I've seen some cars like their strategy is if I step on it, I'll get through the water faster. No, it's not always good that way. Maybe not at all. But I am very glad to have that comment. There might be another comment here. I got Eric comment here. He's saying, this is Eric's comment, I live in Windsor Woods and roads are impassable. Yeah, I've been seeing some video from Windsor. Not a good scene. Really not a good scene. So I really encourage you to take it easy. Not just where you are, but this is true of all of us at any time because it could be a different neighborhood next time. It could be your neighborhood. All of our neighborhoods are susceptible around here to flooding. And sometimes we just need a gentle reminder that, hey, your life is important. We don't want you to put yourself in danger to drive out in water you don't know much about. So that's my soapbox. Go back to the weather forecast. I can show you the current conditions right now. We have a wind gust currently in Norfolk of 31 miles an hour, and it's 26 in Newport News. Now there's the peak. That's the key. The difference here, as I mentioned, the top wind speed we had at Virginia Beach was 55, 40 over here in Currituck, and 36 in Kitty Hawk, 44 Manio in the last 24 hours. Pretty amazing during the course of today. Now, there's the picture again. We've already done the countdown. I don't know if I need to do it again unless you like it and think it's funny. But I will say 5 people's enough. I mean, wouldn't one person be enough? Well, I mean, why risk it? You get in there. You need a kayak. You need a canoe if you really want to get to 7-Eleven. And I'm not joking. There really is a 7-Eleven there. And I did 5. I think there's the 6th one over here. Did I miss one? Yeah, I did. There's 3. I guess I reset. So there's one over here on the right that I'm missing. So my heart breaks, all joking aside, because I have a car, I wouldn't want it in there, and I'm sure you wouldn't want it in there either. So that's where you just have to make sure you take it easy and you don't overexert yourself. But there's definitely one here. There's 4 or 5. I think there's at least 6 out there, maybe 5. 5 or 6. All right, so current wind gusts on the left side, 44 at Virginia Beach, 23 in Hampton, 49 in Wallace. The wind advisory will linger until 8 o'clock tonight. Obviously, that is not true. It's gone a bit longer. Let me see if I can quickly find out what that answer is, because we have now passed 8 o'clock and it's still around. So they obviously are going to have to make an extension or an exception for the wind advisory. And if I have this correctly, then let's see if they actually extended this thing. Maybe it was to go away. Yep, some of it disappeared. Virginia Beach did. The Eastern Shore, however, looks like they still have one. If I do a little quick check here, wind advisory till 10. So this is actually, I can illustrate that. Once I get my numbers off and get back to the numbers, this is till 10 p.m. 10 p.m. for our friends in the Eastern Shore and up towards, say, Matthews County, Gloucester County. All right, you can see I'm a little discombobulated because I'm multitasking. Peak wind gusts will still be strong right through about tomorrow morning. We're still looking at 10 to 20. So the key here really is the fact that we've got 7 a.m. here. This is tomorrow morning. You're looking at about 10 to 20 for most of us, but notice the winds are coming from the southwest. Traditionally, that's a warm weather direction. So it's going to be north tonight, and then somewhere around 2 or 3 in the morning, it's going to switch gears and come from the southwest. Why would it do that? It's associated with the circulation center. So once that low comes in, moves back out, do-si-do, it spins back around. We have winds now coming from a northerly, southwesterly direction, which is warmer, which would probably push us into the lower 70s tomorrow. We only got to 68 today. That's pretty astonishing. And that occurred in the morning, just like it did the day before, a morning high temperature. Large breaking waves in the surf zone, 8 to 12 feet. That's bad enough. That's in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. So obviously no one's surfing at this point, but if you're near the water and you've seen the waves coming on shore, that's how big they are. And what's amazing too is you look at these lows. Our low temperature this morning came in just 1 minute before noon. We were at 64. We're going to look at current temperatures in a moment. 68, you might be thinking, there's no way we hit 68 today in Norfolk. We did, but it happened at 5:42 in the morning. Aren't you glad that some nerd like me, weather nerd, looks that stuff up? Yeah, I could look at the records that Norfolk International Airport, they keep records of when they hit 68, and it happened around 5 o'clock this morning. Amazing, right? But that's how the high, it wasn't like you traditionally expect a high late in the afternoon, but 5:42 is when that happened. Now, current temperature of 64 matches our low temperature for the entire day. We've moved all but 4 degrees today. 65 currently in Virginia Beach. It's 64 in Elizabeth City, 65 Nags Head, and in Surrey, they're at 64 degrees. Current conditions show a lot of raindrops. We're still dealing with some rain. Beach forecast tomorrow, 3 to 6 feet. It was closer to 7 to 11 feet today. It was off the chart. And then high rip current risk will continue tomorrow. We've already covered the tropical activity. If you're joining us in progress, know that we could have Gabrielle in red and Umberto in yellow in the next 14 days, let's say. But clearly there are some areas that we could be watching. Obviously there's some development here that's worth watching as well. So we'll keep an eye on this, and as the Hurricane Center deems it important, they'll give it a name. But should we have given this thing a name? Is there some other nomenclature, some other naming convention that could be instituted where people would take it seriously? I don't know. I'm not a social scientist, but I can tell you this would be potentially Gabrielle. Now, this is a long-range model. We can look at these things until we're blue in the face, but just for argument's sake, is this storm, which would be soon to be Gabrielle, is that coming to the United States? The answer is probably no. It's probably going to fall just to the east of Bermuda. And if you need some help, that's Bermuda there. It's a little fish hook-looking island. It's a beautiful place. But that island looks like it's going to pass to the east of that. And if we switch gears and look at one of the American models, because let's be fair, we got the Euro, we get to use the GFS, this also passes well to the east. This future storm that could be named Gabrielle would likely miss altogether the areas around, say, Bermuda. So that's another option that we'll keep an eye on now to see if my map's going to continue to move. It didn't move, but you'll have to take my word for it. It also is not heading here. Now, the 2025 hurricane names have Gabrielle, Umberto, as well as Imelda as the next 3 names on the list. We're already well past the peak hurricane season, but it's not unheard of to get storms well into October, maybe even November. Here's the high temperature today, 68 degrees, 94. 1956 was the record high for this date. Obviously, it was very cool, the coolest day of the month. And I don't think we were in the 60s in August. I know we weren't in July or June, so you're probably going back to May. One of the cooler days we've had since the month of May. Now, this is a little... well, not complete. 2.67 is what we had as of 5 o'clock. I did not get a chance to update this with all the other graphics I was juggling, but I do know we've added another ½ inch, I think maybe 0.53. I haven't looked at the 8 o'clock readings, but we could add, this will put us well over 3 inches for Norfolk today. And that would bring us well over another ½ inch, probably close to 4 for the month. So if you were worried about the dryness, we did have drought concerns. We dropped to what was a 7.5 deficit for the year is now 4.64. And we've now had a surplus for September, and that will continue to grow as each drop that falls tonight through midnight or 1 a.m. will add to these numbers. But if you're a numbers person, please note we did have nearly 10 inches more of rain this time last year than we have this year. It's all comparative, I guess. Let's see. Got a note from Taj Brown. Do I have Taj on the screen? There he is. He wants to say something, hello, about could Tidewater Drive, underpass, or Virginia Beach Boulevard. Okay, maybe I'm catching this conversation in midstream. It's not the first time, won't be the last, but I do hope somebody will answer your question because I don't know if I have all of that intel. I did get a question from Eric. We tried to cover that, and we mentioned the huge branch, the tree branch that snapped in the Azalea Acres neighborhood. Shannon wanted to know anyone wants to take a guess about schools tomorrow. Again, that could be somebody who has connections with a superintendent or a decision maker. That's not me. But I can tell you it's going to be improving tomorrow. So if you didn't have school canceled today, probably, not necessarily, but probably would expect things might be on time or maybe a hour delay. Sometimes our schools can do that too, I suppose, but it's all up to them. That's kind of outside of my wheelhouse. By the way, the satellite radar shows quite a few, for those of you that are in the military, you might have family anywhere, everywhere, quite a few severe thunderstorms in orange popping up across southern sections of Nebraska. At least 3 or 4 here, quite a few. In Frontier, Hayes County, severe thunderstorm warning in Dundee or Hitchcock County until 7:15 Central, and considerable damage in Rawlings County there in Nebraska. So there's some severe weather living and breathing as I speak. There's also severe weather in Louisiana right now near Monroe, and it's heading southbound, it would appear, in Jackson Parish, Lincoln Parish, and Union Parish. I won't even try and guess that other name there, but you can see it on the screen. And then the back home, really what we're focused on is what's coming on shore. And clearly, the heavy rains now continue to cause issues until 8:15. That's about 6 more minutes for our friends in the eastern shore. So hang in there, Cape Charles. It will get better. The flash flood warning will likely expire on time, and it affects about 4,000 people as it spins from east to west. Again, if you're a Virginia Beach ocean fan, you'll know that in October we typically cool into the 60s, and by the time we hit November, December, it's back in the 50s. It is now 8:10. I'm going to cover dew points real quick. It was supposed to be a little more humid today. Some saw it in the mid-60s, maybe a little bit higher in North Carolina, but it should be leveling off into the mid-60s Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got some great weather days coming into the picture as we head into Friday and Saturday, the way things are shaping up now. Dew points aren't too bad. They're in the low 60s right now, and they're either +1, +2, or maybe -3, -4, depending on where you are. Temperatures as of this hour, 77 in Atlanta. It's a lot hotter, I should say, in some communities like Birmingham. They right now are at 85. Compare that to the 68 in New York City, and very cool here. Richmond's at 61, as is the nation's capital here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So our temperatures can vary anytime it rains. That's no big surprise. And pick your favorite town around the country. It's hot in Phoenix, but it's dry at 103. 86 for New Orleans, and 90 right now in Dallas, Texas. And if you're curious, this CPC, the Climate Prediction Center, is expecting above normal temperatures, especially in the upper Mississippi Valley. You're looking at Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin. That's where the real warmth will be relative to the norm, because everything is relative to normals, but it will be slightly above normal as we round out the month of September. That takes us through the 30th of September. But if you want to see some cool air, follow the blue areas, the blue paint bombs. Really show some cold air in blue across maybe Quebec, parts of Canada, and maybe as we close in on the 24th, 25th of September, that we too could be a little bit warmer than average. Nothing to write home about, but it looks a little bit cooler here in yellow and green over toward Detroit, or even into Chicagoland, as it were. By the way, tomorrow's planner, mostly cloudy, expecting highs in the low to mid 70s. We may struggle to get there, but I am anticipating 71 at noon and winds about 10 to 20. So like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than today. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than today. So just be patient. I always try to say that because, you wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Some people think that that's unique to this area or that area. I've heard it in every area I've ever worked. Everybody thinks that's our saying. You're stealing our saying? It's said everywhere. It's a warm front, then it's a cold front. It changes every 5, 15 minutes, whatever. But temperatures, low to mid 70s. For the temperature trend, the warmest day is Friday, and perhaps the brightest day is Friday, mostly sunny. It's also, as I mentioned yesterday, we got a big weekend with the air show. You like the Blue Angels? It's the air show weekend that's going on in Virginia Beach. Plus, we also have the Tides. We're running out of baseball game days for the Norfolk Tides because baseball season typically wraps up minor league in September. So I would assume if you haven't been out to a Tides game Friday or Saturday or even Sunday would be a great chance to do it. Rain chances though, I see coming back to 30% on Sunday. I think Saturday is going to be the better 2 weekend days. Right now, if we get enough coastal disturbances, if we get enough moisture coming off the coast, then we probably have a 30% chance of rain on Sunday. We've already talked about this low, where it's going, and why it's heading out to sea. It's going to be helped be pushed out, so we won't have to deal with it for much longer. 8:13, temperatures in the eastern shore, 67 in Onancock, 69 Saxes, Cape Charles 67. If you're on the Outer Banks on Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Still think there's still some possibility of showers, but the best chance is going to be north toward Williamsburg because that's where this rainy low round will get hung up. And Rodanthe, only a 10% chance of rain, 73, 75 in Ocracoke. The Storm Prediction Center we like to look at where we're focused on severe weather here. You can see some yellow areas near Denver, really in western sections of Nebraska, which we kind of zoomed in on. That's scattered severe storms until now and through daybreak tomorrow. And Omaha, Kansas City could have some isolated severe storms, perhaps parts of Minnesota, well up to the north. But back here Yeah, we've had some damaging wind, we've had torrential rain, but this will likely go away, I'm sure, after midnight tonight. I'm not going to be too worried about the spin associated with these storms. They've played their hand pretty much. 11 o'clock tonight, I think things are going to be vastly improved here. By the way, a severe weather threat Wednesday is going to be out west, maybe in parts of the northern panhandle of Texas or back toward Colorado, and severe weather threat for the rest of the lower 48 looks good. Nothing to see on Thursday either. So let me take you through the futurecast. If you want to see this, and I feel remiss because I don't know if I had this slide loaded last night, but this shows you the spin that's coming and going. So it goes over to Williamsburg. It's going from east to west. So work with it. And where's it go? It's like wax on, wax off. For those of you old enough to remember Karate Kid. All right, 7 a.m. it goes out to I-95. Then it comes back, and that's what I mean by midday. And then it kind of do-si-dos. It was slow to get in here. It's going to be slow to leave. That's it. That's plain and simple. Slow to get in here, slow to leave. And so the last of the showers, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, might be on their way out. We won't miss it. By Thursday, 7 a.m., I left a 20% chance of rain. I'll take this full screen. There may be a spot rain on shower on Thursday, but it's clearing skies. It's getting brighter, it's better, and I can't tell you or emphasize enough how beautiful Friday is going to be around here. Wednesday morning, tomorrow, we're in the low 60s. I swear I think we'll start briefly with the potential for some showers, about a 60% chance. Tonight's lows, about 59 Franklin, Ahoskie, and Wakefield. Cape Charles, however, about 63. Our friends in Duck, 62 for a morning low temperature. We're looking for lows in Gatesville, Chesapeake, around 60, and 61 in Smithfield. Wednesday afternoon, low to mid-70s for highs if we're lucky. A lot of it's going to be predicated on that southwest wind, and if we can get some sunny breaks, that would be swell. That'd be nice if we could get some sunny breaks tomorrow, but I am more confident we'll get more of it on Thursday and into Friday. Highs tomorrow, 67 Franklin, 65 Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, 66 Gloucester, 67 Hampton and Cape Charles, and if we're lucky, we're in the low 70s in Hertford, Corolla, and Norfolk itself. Here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast of 73 on Wednesday, 77 Thursday. The best looking day for the heat and for the sunshine, for my money, is Friday. So please, if you can get off Friday, or if you get out of the office or school early, for whatever reason, it's sunny and warmer. Saturday's pretty nice too. We'll call it partly cloudy, a little cooler at 76. And then we have some unsettled, or maybe some question marks, on timing anyway. Some rain moving in Sunday, Monday, and departing on Tuesday. That's the way I see things shaping up at this point. Let me go back to the radar, because I know there's bound to be some questions. This would be a good time for me to check your comments if there might be some opportunities. I got a note from Kimberly. Kimberly wants to know about tomorrow's tide chart. Yeah, I showed that at the beginning of the live stream, so when I'm done recording this live, you'll be able to scrub it back to the beginning, but it's going back to nuisance and low levels. So really it's on its descent now. It peaked at 6 o'clock, and it was to be peaking in major levels for Jamestown at 8 o'clock tonight, which was really just 17 minutes ago. So if you live near or around Jamestown and you have tidal flooding concerns, you got to get through the next couple of hours, but the worst will be behind us as we get closer to 11 o'clock tonight. I'm hopeful things, Kimberly, will be improved by then. Other notes that might be asked here. Sunny, love the name. You should be doing weather, Sunny. Sunny has a question, and we'll put her illustration here. She says, will flooding be an issue tomorrow in the Virginia Beach area? I think the cleanup's going to continue tomorrow, Sunny, but I don't see anything additionally that's going to make it any worse than it is right now. My heart breaks for Virginia Beach, for Norfolk, because these things, I mean, these are our neighborhoods, right? This is your neighborhood. This is where you live. This is where you go to church, where you go to the bank, you go to the grocery store. These are your places, and then you go, like, gosh, I can't even get out of my house because I feel trapped. It will get better, but the drainage has to get going, and we got to wait for the tidal flooding to go down and maybe some of that other water to recede. But it's been a very lousy, it's probably the best way to describe today's weather, but it will get better. What's the alternative? I always say every day's a gift. Doesn't mean every day's perfect, but what's the alternative? We all have air in our lungs, then I'd say it's a good day. But did I mention I have a big announcement? I do. But before, let me just remind you, because we're going to be giving away some free pizza. Do you know how hard it is to give away free pizza? We're trying to do that on Thursday. I'm looking for some new participants. If you haven't signed up, it takes only a minute. Or 2, go to our webpage. That's our webpage, WTKR.com/Marcos. It takes 1 or 2 minutes so you can give us permission. We would like to get your address so that we can send you by mail a certificate, right? If we have your blessing and you win, and we've given away dozens of these certificates since May 19th when we started this experiment called First Winning live stream, you get 12 pizzas with one topping. You get one for September, one for November. It acts like a punch card once you get it. Your name would be on there. It would say awarded to, date received. So you get the authentic pizza for a year certificate in the mail if you win. Plus, we do what's something extra. We give away 10 individual pies. So you get a pizza, you get a pizza, you get a pizza. That's fun. We do all that on Thursday at typically 8 o'clock. And it takes maybe less than 5 minutes to do, but your name might be selected. And you can always watch it later if you're not watching it live. But we've yet to have a winner who's watching it live. I'm waiting for that. That would be like the jackpot. If I could actually have the winner say, hey, I'm watching. Tune in at 7:40 to 8 o'clock, roughly that time, on a Thursday. We'd love to see what your reaction would be if you won some pizza. But I did want to mention the deal of the week. Whether you win or not, you've got half off essentially a Pozzoli. It's like a Stromboli or calzone. All you have to do is go to marcos.com and use the promo code WTKRDavid. As I mentioned, the pizza that we give away is announced on Thursdays, but tomorrow, of course, is Wednesday, so we still have another day. But I want to remind you what these pizza, they have a fantastic, magnificent, like pepperoni pizza. The old style pepperoni is one of the choices. They call it a Magnifico, but there's so many other choices you can grab. But to satisfy your appetite, I encourage you to go to WTKR.com/Marcos to sign up. I'd love to give you some free pizza. Okay, I want to reset here. Reset for just a second. I want to make an announcement because I have been working behind the scenes for more than 2 months with a team, awesome team here at WTKR. I don't want to put the number on it. Okay, probably close to 12. I've had maybe the input of at least 12 people. Dave Parker. How many of you know Dave Parker? Patrick Rocky. Miles Henderson. We're putting together because this year, 2025, is a special year here. You know, I'm the newbie. I got here 2 days, you've heard this before, 2 days after the snowstorm in February. I got here in late February, 2 days after the snowstorm, where I saw the mounds of snow that had been plowed away and the Walmart parking lot, and I was like, wow, we got a lot of snow here. So you got 10, 12 inches. I get here and they said, hey, you know, we're in our 75th year. We want to do a 75th anniversary weather package, a weather story. Would you mind spearheading that up? And I said, sure, I'd love to. So it's given me a lot of education about what weather events, going back to the beginning of this station, which started in 1950 as WTAR. Then in 1980, it became WTKR. And of course, our own Kurt Williams, our anchor man, news anchor, has been here 38 years. He's been here more than half of the 75 years. So long story made short, we finally got this piece together. I'm very proud of it. Couldn't have done it without this team. It's really been amazing. And it's been very educational for me, but I really think it's a gift to you. It's really a chance for you to go back and look at some of the big events, the big hurricanes, the big tornado events. It's a rather lengthy piece. I won't tell you how long, 7 minutes, but it's long. And if you enjoy your weather, you want to say, hey, I think you really got the essence, or hey, I think you forgot something else, or that should have been an honorable mention. Whatever it is, check us out. We're going to air this at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So Wednesday, on the news side, TV side, I know if you're a live streamer, it's just, well, where do I go? You can go to WTKR. It'll be posted there too. But if you want to watch it live, watch it during the newscast. I've got some great sound from Dave Parker, Patrick Rocky, Miles Henderson, and others. Kurt's a star in this too. So a lot of cool things about the history here. And if you grew up here, it might be very meaningful because I think weather events, we kind of like, you know where you were, if you're old enough. I'm not. When JFK got shot, or when 9/11 occurred, or some events, weather events, like when Hurricane Hazel came to town. I wasn't around. Maybe Isabel. Oh, now you're talking. My storm was Isabel. Whatever it was, let me know in the comments what you think of the story tomorrow, because it'll air during the 5 o'clock news. I'll say that and leave it there. Anyway, very thankful for all of you. I've gone on long enough. It is now 8:23. Remember, today was kind of lousy. I get that. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Really, in the end, if you think about it and you give yourself some distance to it, it really doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or if it's serious. Every day is a gift. Make the most of it. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of your family. We're all we got. and make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow. Take care.